All right, here we go. It's Thursday, November 13th, and we're going to do some live day trading here on the NASDAQ. We got 1 minute here until open, and I'm overall bearish on the open. I want to see it deliver further to sell side down in here, and then would love to see some bullish movement upwards. Now, one thing I'm noticing here is pre-market. So we're on the 1 minute chart, but over the course of London and pre-market, it moved a couple hundred points down. So that indicates to me that the the New York Open could be accumulation. It could be a little dicey. I'm expecting some accumulation at some point. We've hit multiple targets to the downside already, which I didn't want to see quite yet. And I ideally would love to see it come down into this zone somewhere. We have so much liquidity below us that I really want to see some delivery down here. So market opened, a little stop hunt, taking out some of this buy side liquidity, tiny little SMT. I think one of the questions in my head at the moment is which level is it gonna reverse at? It usually isn't the case where there's so many levels stacked on top of each other, and they're not showing on this chart here, but there's a level like right here, there's a level like right here, there's this level, there's a couple more in between here, and then finally this previous month's equilibrium is the new week opening gap, which I would like to see filled. So I can see price coming all the way down to this level down in here. So at least here for the first 3.5 minutes, the opening hasn't proven to push one way or the other too aggressively. Got previous day low, previous day equilibrium, 1 hour, 4 hour liquidity taken right there. So we'll just wait, just watch it. And the reason why I wait is because when we wait for obvious, when we wait for perfect, the odds tilt in our favor. The market doesn't pay those who press the button. The market pays those who are capable of waiting until the time is right, until the setup's good, if not perfect, and until the market is obvious. And there's a balance to that, because we do need to be able to pull the trigger without hesitation when the market is presenting our setup and when the market is obvious at the same time. And I think that's kind of where I'm working on improving, is finding the balance between the two. And I can kind of tend to skew one way or the other a little too much. But looks like we got some nice movement down. Bearish delivery now out of the open, which is what I was hoping for. First presented fair value gap, so it's the first imbalance between two candles at after 9:30. I want to see more gaps like this left unfilled. Left some small relative equal highs, trendline liquidity. Not even logged in. Hang on, I'm just logging in over here on the other screen. You can see you're on the 4-hour and all this open liquidity down in here. That's what I want to see it go get. There's so many places it could turn around. That's where it's interesting today. And it's not so clear, you know. It could, here's a tailless candle it took. Here's a fair value gap, here's a volume imbalance, here's a gap, here's a gap, here's a gap. All in the 1 hour, let alone if we go to other time frames, 4-hour, the daily. Well, we'll just wait until it is obvious. So I think here in this case, because there's so many liquidity levels that are being taken out, I'm really going to look at the higher time frame liquidity levels and the new day opening gap. So that means if like the trade reverses somewhere in here, I'm going to miss the trade, and that's fine. I think that's a safer bet to wait for it to come down to a level I'm more confident in. Such as on the 4-hour. So 235, for example. $235. $238. We'll do 238. Shorts paid. I saw this continuation short right here just as I was getting started, and I put my position tool on the screen because I wasn't ready to take a trade. I still hadn't done my pre-market routine, and look at that short. It paid. Already some 800 ticks, 210 handles. Wild. My chair clicks, drives me nuts. I need to figure that out. Little tiny fair value gap right there. So what I'd love to see some kind of like accumulation zone, stop hunt, and something like that. It's kind of what I'm hoping for. ES is in sync with NQYM. It's just consolidating. This 2571. Put that on the chart too. Where is that? 2571. So here's a previous day low right here at 25,271. 271. Which lines up with the previous month's equilibrium. So I like starting to see confluences here in this zone. 68 is the 4-hour equilibrium, so right there. 67 is the 1-hour equilibrium, right there. So here's this inversion gap, and I'm expecting it to fail. I'm expecting price to come down through it again. What do we have? 9 minutes until the next hourly candle opens. What did this inversion give? So 2R would be shy of this fair value gap and right about this high. Something like that, but like I said, I'm not interested in it quite yet. I want to see some consolidation. I want to see it dig down a little deeper than that. And I could be wrong and I could miss it because of that. I just don't like this structure here. But it's moving. Here, I would have liked to have seen a little bit bigger of a gap, something like that. Not that little gaps don't work. So I see this as targets. This like trend line liquidity right down in here. So what we came back down, tapped into this fair value gap. See what happens is some equal highs right here. Closing above this means more bullish continuation. Took that high by a tick or two. Time wise, we're in the 950 macro, so the The time is right, but I'm just not liking anything I see yet. The daily chart, tap where I wanted to see it. Over here on the daily, target acquired there. This was my zone for the 4 hours, a little shy. We have any SMT? No bullish SMT. Hold on, maybe so. Let me check. I can kind of use this low. Or even this low, we have a bullish SMT there. Oh, the indicator is showing a bullish SMT right there. So it's possible it just doesn't dig deep where I thought it was going to go, or where I wanted to see it to go. It's not that I thought, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to do anything, I think. But this would be great if this became the accumulation range. Like it kind of did something like this, then did that, and came just down into this zone. I would be all for that. I guess I feel like this would have been a lucky trade where oftentimes these kind of setups, they go maybe 1R and then slap you. And this one here did like 2.5, 3R. Now, sometimes they do that. But that to me was low probability. Rebalance to equilibrium of this range, roughly. This fair value gap. equilibrium. Now it's coming for the sell side. This liquidity down here probably. And we have a new hourly open, I guess. So that's this line right here. Sometimes I like to flip things around a little bit. And like, you know, here's a small fair value gap and inversion. I'm just wondering, could this be a continuation short? We have a small SMT here. I don't like these two equal lows, but I'm more interested in a long. And I also think this could be an accumulation range. But this could be one of those days where like every setup you tape read just plays out. Probably would have done something like that. Here's 2R. That's the idea. "15-minute chart shows some signs of reversal. Closed back in that candle's range. So left this gap here. So this candle closed back inside of that range. Here on the 5-minute chart, tapped back into this fair value gap. Rejected. YM still kind of just chopping. ES is in sync. NQ is the leading asset. ES is the middle asset, and YM is the lagging asset. So let's see here. Ooh, we have this new 4-hour candle. I do want to see it take that low. I think for me to engage, yeah, on the 1-hour chart. Got a lot going on. I need to clean this up a little bit. I want to see that gap on this chart. So this is a stop hunt, an inversion. I would consider the short narrative unlikely at this point. It did come down, grab some liquidity. The question is a long on the table? This would kind of be some extra confirmation if it did do an internal stop hunt. Creates this other breaker. It's just not as low as I was hoping for, but thing is yesterday did that exact same thing. So that's huge. Wow. So 112 per contract. Too late. It already moved. It's already moving. Not quite doing what I was expecting. So here I started to gain a little more confidence in the idea of a long, but I was a little hesitant because I wanted to see another stop hunt. Look at that. Look at that. Nice little push on that candle. And Q did this yesterday. It didn't come into the previous day low. It was a little bit shy. And actually what happened yesterday is it did this. It turned around and came down for that low in the end. So I think it's good that I didn't take this even if it is a winner, because it was probably a little more FOMO than anything. Of course, there's a balance to being like adaptive to what the charts are saying and predictive, because we can't predict everything. Like, I'm only guessing at a consolidation phase. And sometimes the consolidation phases are large enough that they'll give you your trade. So I'll just wait for a few. I'll go grab my breakfast. Look at that, just moving. So here's where I like to make some notes. Nice price movement today. Things are just doing what you expect them to. Which hasn't been NQ lately. We'll also kind of clean up these drawings, start with a fresh slate. Kind of looking around, seeing if I have any Anything I can foresee to be able to get in on. Not at the moment. I guess I need to wait. There's a lot of movement in the NQ today. So even this swing up here was 860 ticks, 215 handles. I mean, I remember, I feel like last year, that'd be an entire day's worth of movement. So here's sell side, 50% of the range. These imbalances here. See what it does right down in here. Beautiful little move though. This chair drives me nuts. I don't know. I feel like it wants to come down from more down here. Could be wrong. Here's the hardest part of trading. This is the waiting part. This is where they say waiting is a trader's true craft. Hmm. Sometimes I like to look around, see what some people are doing. One of my mentors, he took this long. I didn't take it. He took it. I guess he had more conviction in it, not coming down further. Where's some of my levels? There we go. Move. I think I'm missing some. What we also have here is this kind of like 930 opening range, 940, yep, right there. So we're still ranging. So essentially what I thought, after this nice drop all, through London and New York AM was a consolidation. Looks like the consolidation is just larger than I would have expected and happening a little higher. I didn't see this as a short. I didn't take any significant liquidity, so for me I couldn't short this. Even though I have my eyes on targets down in here. Deep retracement too. Not typical to get, if it is trending bearishly, to get that deep of a retracement. I mean, not typical, but I would expect more of a 50% retracement than a almost 100% retracement of the previous hourly candle. There we go. I'm getting some nice distribution towards sell side. This low is taken right here. I want to see it come down here. Just waiting patiently. Still not a trade for me. All right. So here on the 4-hour, ES is taking the previous 4-hour low. YM's done the same. I really want to see NQ do the same. Massive gap right here. The daily's digging in a little deep. I know we can come down into this rejection block. Down into here even. So maybe in this 1050 macro, I don't know. I don't really expect us to get this high today, but we shall see. Still in the opening range. I just want to see it just expand. I want to see it kind of like it started to do in these two candles here. Just push down nicely and get a good response. Create some gaps along the way. And I think I'd be good with that. Let's put the so we're in the new week opening gap again. I like how we're leaving some targets. There's a couple of inefficiencies right there. We have all this trend line liquidity. What else do we got? Not huge gaps, but there's gaps. Now this is what I was wanting to see. I was wanting to see this. All right, so the 4-hour low is taken, the daily low is taken. Consequent encroachment, the median of this new week opening gap has been filled. I'm expecting this to be a gap right here, a fair value gap. So I'm kind of anticipating a long somewhere down in here. And if not, I would just like to see it just expand through these levels and keep going if it wants to fill in all the rest of it. It would be great if it just kind of didn't lollygag right here. Make a gap like this. Okay, we have some SMTs potentially. Nothing confirmed yet, at least on a 15-minute or higher SMT. YM is back to in sync and taking some significant liquidity on YM. Okay, that candle closed, kind of more so that's the gap. Kind of could in theory combine them to one kind of thing. Now I'm even just curious if I was to, so 138 ticks, if I was to have to go long here, 69 per contract. One minute until the next macro. $217. Here's the 1 hour for value gap. And also the balancing of the new week opening gap too. I am noticing that these little inversions seem to be working. It's tempting to want to do that. Just looking around at the other time frames. Waiting for any bullish indications in the candles. At the moment, looks like the 5 minute might start turning, possibly. With a close inside the previous candle's range, possibly. I don't want to see it start building up liquidity right down in here. So starting these, relative equal lows, I don't like that. I must see it clear that out before I can take a long like that. There we go. But that also means that this next 5-minute candle is not going to close inside the previous candle's range. So close above this this low here. So that means I'm expecting more downside. Much lower than this, and I'm going to start losing interest in a long. I don't like that gap. I don't like that tailless candle. Two was 100. Well, it does have a tail, little tail. Don't shoot. We don't even have the SMT anymore, do we? Nope, no SMT. Not a valid setup. Unless I can find something, which it didn't confirm yet. I think it's going to go lower. I don't think it's going to turn around here. Well, the 5-minute says it might. I can't find any SMT. Man. Which it's close, like, so maybe I would set a limit order like there. It closed so far away from this gap. Look at that. I was right, but wrong at the same time. I waited for what I wanted, and it didn't give it to me. So here I would have gone break even. Super big bummer. Like, everything is played out today. So I'd be trailing my stop. So that was what I was hoping for right there. No SMT. At least not a clear one. And I would have put it like right there. So target acquired. Well, all right, that's 2 hours on the charts. And I think at this point, I'm going to just start to feel a little. I know myself, and I know that I'm going to start to feel a little like breaking my rules, maybe, given how many not perfect setups hit, or setups I wasn't confident in hit. And that's 1, 2, 3, it's 4 for 4. And I know that these days have happened. I'm like, oh my gosh, 4 setups have hit, so I should just take the 5th or the 6th. And those are the days that it generally doesn't go well. So I think that's a good place to call it a day for in the charts. I think it's still a win today. I mean, calling. I didn't quite get the narrative right on the charts in terms of where I thought price was gonna do what, but I called a short pre-market, called this long, and then here this little long here. So that's still a pretty successful day, I think, to maintain my emotional control, not in weight, because it wasn't quite what I was hoping for. I think that's a good thing. Not to say I might not need to rebalance and be a little more aggressive, and maybe that's something I need to learn at some point too. But ultimately, I think one of the hardest things in trading, especially if you're new to trading, is self-control and discipline, because it's really easy to click the button, to get punked out by candles that are moving quickly and that then mess with you. Like, you could have thought, oh, I remember I was kind of eyeballing a short here, and I was like, it could be a short continuation down to here, and I got these 2 candles displacing down in here, and they could punk you out. So having some self-control is important. So here I would have been out of the trade. I don't know if it'll continue, but I would have set a conservative target like that with the daily low right there. So I feel pretty okay, I think. Feeling a little frustrated that it's been so many days of no trades between a variety of different things. And I feel like that's kind of part of my story. And I need to look at that maybe, why I get so many trade days where I don't get a trade when I could have done about anything today and taken a W. So all things to consider and look at, but I think that's a good